In my first video, if it's still up, I summarized some of the troubling issues about the new generation of women and how recent developments in Western society might be the build-up of an all-female dominated and governed cacotopia, which puts men in an imminent risk of harm. Because many people wondered why I seem to be well versed in the wiles of these women and its impact on society, I decided to tell you which personal experiences instigated me to making these videos. But no matter how many videos I will make, we can't make this speeding train make a short curve. It's way past the point of no return, and without wanting to sound apocalyptic, this surely is the end of Western society as we know it, and the beginning of an era of which it is very hard to predict its development. What I oppose to is a matriarchy ruled by a generation of disturbed, spoiled and naive women who seized the power by biting the hand that fed them. No one saw it coming. It happened suddenly, unexpectedly and violently. It's almost the definition of a coup, and that was what MeToo was. A coup d'état, overthrowing the entire system overnight, in the name of equality. But if you analyze it, this could only be possible in an equalized society. In a female oppressing society, men would have kicked our empowered asses right back into the kitchen. Heaven knows why. Even in the kitchen, men seem superior to women. Which is strange, as history suggests that women had plenty of time to practice. But it is me too. Me too. The phrasing of this slogan perfectly accentuates its agenda. I even propose that the entire Me Too movement could only occur in times where men were already positively discriminating women. Because remember, it was in the early 90s when the positive discrimination of women really took hold. That's at least a quarter of a century of women being privileged, promoted and pampered in our society. If I apply for a job and you, as a man, apply for the same job, you know it will be me getting the job. Underqualified as I may be, overqualified as the man may be, it doesn't matter. The job is mine and most men know why. I'm a woman. You may call this a pussy pass, which is slang for using one's female gender as a handicap to get benefits.
To answer the question raised as to how I know the things that I know, I'll cover some topics which gravely affected many people I care about and which I have witnessed personally. I will address these in the first person singular, as these are all true events which occurred in Spain and the Netherlands, though can be viewed as perfect models for any Western society and as a warning how this madness of female-tailored and supporting laws tomorrow can be policy in your own country. My first experience. The women supporting and men destroying draconian domestic violence laws in Spain.
Imagine you have a home in Spain. You worked your fingers to the bone for 30 years and now you're the proud owner of a Spanish villa with a nice infinity pool and a lustrous garden. And I come home from this job I got because I'm a woman and I think, I really like your villa. Would be fun to own it. All I have to do is go to the police, report you, and your villa is mine. This sounds insane, but this has been policy in Spain since 2006, when the old left President Zapatero introduced this so-called Ley de Géneros, the law against domestic violence. Only women can report men. Men cannot report women. So what I do is this. I go out, find me a guy with a nice house, let him ask me to move in, and then I report him for domestic violence. Now most of you will go, yeah, this is old news. But what you probably don't know is that I can go to the police and say that you just called me a bitch. That's domestic violence. Or that you criticized me for doing a crossword puzzle. Let me repeat that. I can get your ass in jail by going to the police and say that you joked about me doing a crossword puzzle. Or my shoes. That's domestic violence right there.
José Luis Zapatero and his government drew up a new law, gender violence law,
So immediately after my report, the police, by law, will have to detain you, and after a night in a Franco-era stone prison, you will get the surprise of a lifetime. A quick trial.
Do you want to make a statement against him?
An all-female team and female judge awaits you. You'll be strongly advised to plead guilty. And you'll think, fine, I'll confess. It was just a joke about a crossword puzzle.
You can, if you like, accept the facts of the case.
And then it's done. Your life as you knew it is over. Your villa and everything in it now is mine. They just changed the deed, put it on my name, and you will be homeless. But it doesn't end there. We just started our equality game.
La ley de violencia de género solamente protege a las mujeres.
I made sure that I picked a guy with a nice income because now I will get a hefty monthly cut. If you were so smart to get a child with me, you can double the amount. Obviously, I will keep our child to make the rest of your life miserable. You'll get a restraining order by default. And with this restraining order, I can just claim that you came within the 200-meter limit and I can have you arrested again. It was actually me trespassing, but who cares? I'm the woman. My word counts. Now it's serious jail time you're looking at. And with you behind bars, I now get sole custody of the child. That's the Spanish law of domestic violence in 2006 for you. Now I have your villa, your child, your money, and all it took was me telling the police that you said something about my crossword puzzle. If you think this girl is insane and I'm not buying it, I invite you to move to Spain and try it yourself. I assure you, you won't be buying anything for a long, long time.
The Spanish courts accept false accusations if presented by women.
The matriarchal, overtly sexist laws of Western countries such as Sweden and the UK are often cited as remarkably biased against men. However, little is said about Spain, whose laws are so draconian that Spain must be considered at least equal to these other jurisdictions.
Do you want to make a statement against him? Do you want to continue with the case?
Every day, 400 women in Spain go to the court and present 400 accusations against men. A woman only has to press the button and call the police. The police do not ask any questions or undertake any investigation. A woman shall not present any proof or evidence. Only her word is sufficient. The man goes directly to prison.
Before I started making videos, I warned men about this law on a Spanish expert Facebook page. And to my surprise, people refused to believe it, which says a lot about the human psyche and its perception. If the presented fact is too absurd to ingest, people will respond with denial.
Can you explain to us what happened yesterday at your home?
But a substantial number of cases have been based on trivial complaints, such as not letting the female partner watch a certain TV program, or not letting them finish a crossword, simply raising their voice, or even criticizing their partner's clothes.
Are you afraid of your husband? Would you like protective measures to be implemented to prevent him from coming close to you?
There have been cases where men have been convicted for flatulence during a discussion. Yes, convicted for farting.
This is my carefully planned rebuttal for these arguments.
You're accused of making threats within the household. You can, if you like, accept the facts of the case. If it had been, so to speak, normal threats, the sentence would probably be a fine. But because this is a case of violence against a woman, the minimum sentence is a jail term.
But remember, this is only violence if the man does it and not if the woman does it.
It wasn't until a police officer from the Spanish Guardia Civil replied to my post and confirmed that this was in fact real. As most of the Facebook pages, the admins are women, the thread was deleted within the hour.
My second experience. The women supporting and men destroying corrupt social service systems and laws in the Netherlands. I learned men have no rights whatsoever when it comes to family law.
I come from the Netherlands, once known for its tolerance, freedom, Amsterdam, soft drugs and the red light district. Don't bother visiting Amsterdam anymore. The old left socialists have peeled caps and split wigs with gusto.
Willen we een product zijn?
Even the I Amsterdam sign had to be removed as it was too individualistic for the Marxist socialistic female lead party and its female mayor.
This is the most important spot of Amsterdam.
This is the landmark of the Amsterdam.
Of willen we een solidaire, diverse, tolerante samenleving zijn?
I myself come from a small village in the province. Never was I aware of this new zeitgeist until I got a phone call from a 13-year-old girl who was physically and mentally abused by her mother. That mother was the ex-partner of a friend of mine. She sent recordings of her bruises and the assault, so what did I do? I called social services. How was I to know that this was possibly the worst female-indoctrinated, alt-left, female-managed, corrupt bureau of the country? I was given the opportunity to make an anonymous phone call. So the first thing that those women from social services did was give my full name and address to the mother. When I told them that I had proof that the little girl sent me, they said to me, and I quote, "We don't care for proof. Proof is something for the police. We go by feelings. We listen to our feelings." It is absolutely insane. And I have tasted the women's vengeance myself. That's how I know that these women will never stop and will not hesitate to take you out by any means necessary.
Munchausen by proxy, of PCF. Bij deze zeldzame psychische aandoening maken ouders hun kinderen expres ziek of ze bedenken een ziektebeeld. Maar de kritiek op het aantal meldingen neemt toe. De Belangenvereniging spreekt van een meldingsgekte en ouders voelen zich rechteloos.
My third experience. The evil and macabre ways of Social Services Holland to incriminate the father with child abduction and attempted murder in the second degree using the all-female disorder called Munchausen by proxy.
Now imagine our child ran away from me to you, the father, because I was physically or mentally abusing him or her. And you, as a man, call social services with the proof of abuse in your hands. They have to initiate an investigation by law. But I can change the reports and just blame the man. As a woman, having sole custody over our child, I can issue an all-point bulletin and put Interpol on your ass, since it is now child abduction, because our child is with you but you do not have custody, even though you're the father. That's one of the worst crimes. That's 9 to 11 years in prison for the man. Then I can call social services and just tell them that my child is sick. Social services will be more than happy to use the all-female disorder called Munchausen by proxy syndrome on the man, claiming he is making his child sick in order to get attention. It doesn't even sound like a male disorder. Females tend to be the poisoners. But Social Services Holland are overly zealous to get the child and take it away. I won't go into as to why that may be. Suffice to say, you will now get arrested for Munchausen by proxy, which boils down to attempted murder in the second degree.
In de vele dossiers zit ook het verhaal van Tibbe. Hij werd te vroeg geboren, met ernstige complicaties. Het ziekenhuis wil uitsluiten dat de ouders het kind iets aandoen en vraagt Veilig Thuis om een inschatting te maken.
En het ziekenhuis zegt dus, PCF moet worden uitgesloten. En een uur later zegt Veilig Thuis, acute dreiging doding, letsel en vrijheid benemen.
Zijn ouders mogen hem niet meer verzorgen, maar Tibbe's gezondheid blijft schrikbarend achteruit gaan. Het ziekenhuis komt tot de conclusie dat het onwaarschijnlijk is dat de ouders hun kind zelf ziek gemaakt hebben.
Ondanks het feit dat die melding wordt teruggetrokken, gaat Veilig Thuis door met het gegeven dat het er zou zijn. Er is ook geen weg terug. Dan wil Veilig Thuis niet terug, dan wil de kinderbescherming niet terug, willen de rechter zelfs niet terug.
You as a male and a loving father will be charged with attempted murder of your beloved child. That's 11 to 20 years in prison right there.
The child-abusing mother had the power to change social services official reports. successfully incriminating the father, who in the end was deemed the perpetrator. Too many men remained powerless and simply were stripped from all they loved and what was dear to them. This is how I learned how the Western world is swiftly changing into a society in which men are stripped from their human rights and how a small but determined group of women are making it happen.
Veilig Thuis wil een procedure winnen en het gaat al lang niet meer om het kind. Een Veilig Thuisarts hoopt dat er iets met Tibbe gebeurt, zodat de bewijslast tegen de ouders rondkomt.
Zou wel verder als het niet we zijn vol in discussie over. Het moet niet zo gebeuren dat hij dan doodgaat.
This was the start of my personal voyage of discovery through this new world governed by females. I have seen this suffering up close, and while investigating and studying this bizarre phenomenon, which was completely new to me, I gradually found out that this is all real. The immense suffering is absolutely unbearable, and this is happening to men all over the world. So I'm most certainly not afraid to speak my mind and go public to share all I have learned with as many people as possible.
If you analyze it, this is all manipulative behavior where key positions have been taken over by this group of overly zealous feminists. Instilling so much fear, they created this positive discrimination which enables them to be in those key positions, changing the system and recruiting the new generation of women, brainwashing and spoiling these young girls into thinking that literally all men are rapists, inferior beings. Analyzing it further, you can clearly see the female spirit is stirring the pot. If absurd idiocracies such as farting can get men incarcerated in Spain, sitting with your legs spread can get you arrested in the US, this can only sprout from a woman's mind. Men simply don't invent such nonsense and mind the new stupidities they are bound to come up with.
Is it too far-fetched to expect that women will take crimes like men spreading to a new level? Will we get men whistling, men singing, men shopping, men existing, or men being as the next crimes punishable with 4 years in prison? Women are currently and globally destroying males as if it's a nasty divorce. And maybe this is just exactly what it is. A divorce from all men. And the man was handed the divorce papers via the MeToo movement. When I see men going their own way, I see the traditional picture of a man leaving the house that he built while the woman has taken over his entire life. But will it come to an actual war between men and women? As soon as women find themselves scratching their eyes out in the mess that they made, they will try to reconcile with men, whom by that time will all have gone their own way.